Hey guys, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today we're going to be doing a quick video on the top 5 benefits of fasting. Not intermittent fasting, just straight up fasting. We'll be chatting about that today. I'm excited to kind of talk about the benefits on both sides there. And before we do, put your comments down below. Really curious to know your thoughts and what your experience on fasting is. And if you're enjoying the content, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that bell. That gives you more chance to see my content and videos in your newsfeed. Hope you guys are enjoying. All right, let's dive in. So fasting, I'm trying to keep my calories a little bit lower today. I'll be doing probably about a day and a half fast. I started off the day with a little bit of coffee and MCT oil. That's kind of how I started my day, but I won't be doing any other solid food for a day and a half. My lunchtime, I sipped on a little bit of bone broth. That's it. And I'm just doing mineral waters throughout the day. So a little bit of calories. Try to keep the calories under 300 or so. Some people say you can get up to a couple hundred calories on a typical fast, just getting a little bit of small dose of amino acids and minerals and some nutrients from my bone broth. So I'd like to do something simple, easy on my tummy, still giving me a little bit of amino acids, a little bit of nutrition, but overall at 90% or 70 to 80% reduction in calories, maybe more. If I'm getting 3,000 calories a day, and a 300 calories overall, about a 90% reduction in overall calories, I think is a pretty good way to go. That way you're getting your minerals, you're still getting some nutrients on board, getting also your electrolytes, which are your minerals in your water, or an electrolyte formula is great too. And that's what I'm doing. So I like to start I'm doing that as a newer thing every couple of weeks. I'm trying to do about a day and a half full on fast with a little bit of bone broth in between. It really feels good, resets my tummy for the weekend as well. And then usually I'll break that fast with a nice steak dinner or some kind of a really nice meal to really get things going again. So I'm really excited for that. And bone broth is my favorite thing to sip during the day when I do it. That or some ginger tea. So I love that. Now, what are the top benefits? So of course, you have increase in stem cell production while you fast. Increase in stem cell production. They say you can do a little bit of calories. If you look at Jimmy Moore's book on The Complete Guide to Fasting, he talks about a couple hundred calories is okay throughout the day. That's it. Nothing substantial. That alone won't be enough to jack up your insulin enough and get you out of that fasting state. So overall increase in stem cell production, number 1. Number 2, we're increasing our telomere length. These are the little caps on our chromosome shoelaces that help with aging. Number 3, we're helping with insulin sensitivity. So every time we eat, we are spitting out a little bit of insulin. Of course, insulin's primarily going to be secreted when we are consuming more carbohydrates. So more carbs equal more insulin. Less refined, less processed, lower glycemic index the carbs, like berries, less insulin, right? Fats, almost no insulin, very little insulin. Proteins, maybe just a little bit of insulin. So you're making a little bit of insulin with foods that you consume, but when you consume nothing, now you have a massive reduction in insulin. So your cells get a little bit more sensitive to it, which is great. Number 4, you're giving your tummy, your digestive system a break. Now this helps more when you're eating a lot of inflammatory foods, because now those inflammatory foods aren't coming in there. Now myself, I eat good quality proteins, good fats, high quality vegetables, keep the carbs relatively low. So my tummy's probably not noticing that much of a difference because the foods that typically go in there are anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense, and low toxin. But is it still beneficial for my digestive tract to get a little bit of a break from digesting proteins and fats and nutrition like that? Absolutely. So there's definitely some benefits there. So we talked about number 4 was just giving your digestive system a break, which is helpful. And then number 5 also is getting into ketosis. So as we drop insulin levels, right, one of the natural byproducts is going to be spitting out more ketones. As insulin and ketones are on this seesaw. So as insulin drops, ketones increase. It's hard to have lots of ketones when your insulin levels are high. It's really tough. The only way you could do it is if you're taking exogenous ketones, which kind of defeats the purpose. So by dropping your insulin levels, you're really bumping up your ketones. So really important. So if you kind of rehash it again, we're increasing stem cell production, right? We're increasing cellular autophagy and recycling and rebuilding. We're increasing telomere length. We are giving our digestive systems a break. We're increasing insulin sensitivity. And then we're also spitting out more ketones. Those are about my top 5 benefits of fasting. Now, a couple of pitfalls. You got to be careful. I'm metabolically flexible. The healthier you are, the more metabolically flexible you become. Also, I'm relatively fat adapted. So my body can now go into fat burning mode for a bit, and it can handle that. If you're not quite metabolically flexible, you have a lot of adrenal or thyroid issues or female hormone issues, you may have a harder time kicking into that fat burning mode, and not having that adequate amount of nutrition, you may create too much of a stress response in regards to cortisol, where you just may feel worse. You may feel jittery, you may feel anxious, you may feel irritable. These may be problems for you. So if you're starting to go into a fast and you already have these issues to begin with, you may want to get a little bit healthier, which will increase your metabolic flexibility. The more metabolically flexible you are, the better you will be going into a fast. Now, if you're going into a fast, things you can do is hydrate, but hydrate with water that has good minerals. So I drink my Topo Chicos. In Austin, we love Topo Chico. It's the best. And when you drink it, it gets you here. It gets you right here. It's got a really good sparkle to it. So minerals. Number 2 is I'm going to add supplemental minerals as well. I have my Endure or my Trace Mineral Support that has some extra electrolytes in there, potassium, magnesium, sodium chloride. That's wonderful. And then when I do get a little bit of calories in, I'll just be a little bit of bone broth, just to provide a little bit of extra amino acids and some minerals in there. And it's very warm and just kind of soothing. And again, it's liquid, so it's still giving my digestive system a really, really nice break. All right, so any questions there? Hope you guys enjoyed it. So fasting could be an issue for some, meaning it could be a problem. It could be very beneficial for others. In general, fasting is great when you're eating enough calories on a day in, day out basis. You're nutritionally sustained, you're getting enough nutrition, and then you come in and you have a punctuated drop. You can have a really nice benefit there. We just want to make sure day in and day out that you are getting enough calories. People that intermittent fast day in, day out, I see some of them don't get enough calories. And then that intermittent fasting that's every day now turns into a fad diet, because you can only calorie restrict so much before you get too skinny, too lean, and your appetite starts going up. Or you could just damage your metabolism. Your appetite eventually goes up, you eat, and now metabolically you burn less fuel, and you start storing more of that calories that you're consuming back on your body for storage for a rainy day, because your body's a little bit concerned that you may fast again and it may not have that nutrition available. So we don't want to weaken your metabolism through lots of intermittent fasting with inadequate nutrition. That's very important. So hope you enjoyed this content. If you guys are, click down below. You can reach out and schedule with myself and my colleagues. We're available for functional medicine support and consulting worldwide. If you enjoyed the content, like, thumbs up, bell, really appreciate it. And we will dive into your questions as well. What's cooking, y'all? I have gastritis, and any water on an empty stomach gives me major nausea. Why does this happen? So you got a lot of inflammation in your stomach, so you got to calm down the inflammation. So I would be doing my ginger tea protocol, and I would be leaning on that, and some gentle soups and bone broth, and cut out the foods that are driving the inflammation. Because of course you're eating at some point, so you have to work on cutting out all the foods that are driving the inflammation. So I've talked about this a lot. Autoimmune template, GAPS template may be great to start off with, and some anti-inflammatory soothing nutrients. Something like my GI Restore would be great, which has L-glutamine, DGL, cyprium, aloe, kind of zinc, really good things. Get the inflammation calmed down, work on better digestion, work through my 6 R's, right? Remove the bad foods, replace enzymes, acids, repair the gut lining and hormones, remove the infections, repopulate, reinoculate, good bacteria, retest. 40-year-old male does well with fasting, but lately can't go more than a few hours without pains in his chest, acidic body taste, bloody taste in mouth. Where to start? Fix. Got to look at the gut. Probably has H. pylori, could have some kind of bacterial imbalance, maybe not digesting fat well, some gallbladder issues, especially with the metallic taste stuff. That could easily be that. So we need to dive in and do some testing. Yeah, and if it's burping a lot 2 hours after food, that tells me low enzyme and acid level 2. So needs to work on the 6 R's for him too. So do you reduce your load during this? No. I mean, for me, Barb, hey, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I just had a little small gap in my schedule, and I just decided to reach out to all the listeners, and I'll be going back to patients right after this. I'll actually be working on my book for like 20 minutes, and then got a couple more patients. For a female, insulin test was 3.4. That's pretty low. A1C is 5.4. Okay. Glucose stays between 75 and 90. Diet dialed in most of the day. Light spots on skin, fungus, started oregano, and BMs became loose and corn. So I would just say insulin looks great. Insulin looks really good. Blood sugar looks really good. It sounds like the skin stuff, the fungus stuff is a separate issue. So you got to work on the gut. So I don't really have much data on the gut, so I'd really want to dive in there first. Oh, Barb, I do this a couple times a week, 15, 20 minutes, a couple times a week, plus podcast. So I'm glad that you joined today. Excellent. So in general, y'all, when you guys are consuming like liquid and you have a lot of tummy inflammation, you got to work on calming down that inflammation. And a lot of times it's not about the fact that what you are doing now with that gentle bit of water, it's what you were doing before, right? It's always about what led up to this. So of course you got to change the foods so then you're not creating an inflammatory environment, number one. Number two, my ginger tea with maybe a tiny bit of manuka honey and some lime can be very helpful and gentle. And then moving into a very good, like simple bone broth kind of soup recipe. You can look at GAP soups or just kind of a general autoimmune paleo soup. Would be a great first start. So you're getting a lot of nutrition, you're getting good fats, everything's broken down for you. And then maybe just lean in with some enzymes. That way there's no extra acid. You're just leaning in with enzymes and you're trying to get that tummy feeling better. I'd add in some of my GI Restore which has all the healing nutrients in there on an empty stomach. That's a good first start. And then you want to do some testing to see what else is going on. Do you take your regular regimen of nutrients? So when I'm fasting, I'm taking my multi-support pack, and then I have my Revive and my Mito Synergy that I take. I have a testosterone formula that I'll also do, and then I have a vitamin C magnesium blend that I do at bedtime, and that's pretty much my protocol. I have some medicinal mushrooms or some different adaptogens that I'll cycle in and out during stress, though. Sometimes I feel blood flowing behind my nose. I assume it's going into my brain. However, why does this happen? Mood, concentration goes up. I just suspect that something might be wrong with me. I don't think there's enough data to say that. I mean, most blood flow to the brain is happening here. Okay, it's happening via the carotids on the side of your head going up. And then there's there's the carotid, and there's also another little artery behind there as well. There's cerebral artery as well, but that's like higher up. But the carotid is the main artery going up to the brain, and that's here. I don't think that goes behind the nose, though. I'd have to go look at anatomy, but I'm pretty sure it's carotid. So probably just you making some assumptions on that, but I wouldn't worry about it. I'd work on cleaning out your sinuses if you feel like there's a sinus issue. That'd be the easiest first thing to do. As I wish this could always be like that. Besides fasting, I love all the topics you talk about, watching you daily. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Notice my glucose goes up after fasting and workouts. Female, why is that? Well, when you're fasting, your body you're going to be spitting on ketones, right? So if you tested your ketones during a fast, you'd probably see at least 1 millimole to 2 millimoles on fasting for ketones. And you may see a little bit of gluconeogenesis happening with the cortisol going up, and that may be mobilizing a little bit of glucose. So that's probably the benefit there. You're just seeing a little bit of glucose coming up from probably the cortisol response. So hopefully it's not too much. That's why I like putting a little bit of calories in there, very, very small amount, just to mitigate some of that, because I don't want to create so much stress where my body's like trying to grab amino acids from me. So just put a little bit of amino acids in there through the bone broth. I look at that as a way to spare some of my muscles, just a little bit. Has started a light parasitic cleanse, and right supraclavicular became hugely inflamed. Okay, so supraclavicular area is right here. So you're talking about this whole neck, like lymphatic area. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, so you want to do the ginger tea. That will help with the inflammation. And then you can always just do some gentle lymphatic massage and bring that right back to your heart. That's very helpful as well. Oh, and if you mentioned, your glucose after a workout, of course that makes sense because your body's trying to mobilize glucose to burn right away. With the fasting, it's probably just because your body's trying to grab some extra fuel, and it's maybe ketones aren't enough. All right, excellent. Any other questions, y'all? Feel free to let me know. But fasting has some good benefits. I really like it before I go out to a nice restaurant. So if I know I'm going to go out Friday night or a Saturday night, which I typically will go out one or both of those nights, I'll typically go into a fast on Thursday through Friday into Friday night and break the fast Friday night. So I like a nice day to a day and a half fast. I think that's a really good approach. Number one, it just gives you something to look forward to. And number two, you get a lot of those anti-aging benefits, stem cell benefits, protein recycling benefits. Really helps with just giving your tummy a little bit of a break as well. I faint when I fast for a day due to low blood sugar. How can I mitigate that? Yeah, you got to work on your adrenals first, and you got to get more keto adapted, fat adapted first. The healthier you become, the more metabolically flexible you are. So you want to already be a little bit more in fat burning mode to begin with. That way, when you cut out calories and glucose, your body's not going to be like, crap, like what am I going to burn for fuel? Because if your body's already used to burning fats for fuel, and you're already spitting out some ketones anyway, your body's just going to ramp up more ketones. But if you're not used to burning ketones, your body's used to burning glucose, now it's like, damn, what's going on here? And it may say, well, we got to get some gluconeogenesis going. That may not quite be as efficient as just spitting out ketones. At some point, your body's going to want to switch to burning ketones because your body's not going to rip up all your muscle just to make glucose, right? So it's going to have to switch over to ketones at some point. And if you're not used to making that transition, that shift, being metabolically flexible, that's where some of those symptoms come in. So really working on getting your adrenals stronger with all the diet and lifestyle things, and then of course using some supplements as well. All right. Great questions so far. How to make the most out of a far infrared sauna? Yeah, I mean, I'll do mine 15 to 20 minutes. Just drink some minerals before and during, and make sure you shower afterwards with some good 10% sulfur soap to get off any of the toxins on your skin. What are your recommendations to help a young man get rid of acne? Dairy causes flare-ups. So first thing with acne is get your insulin under control. Too much carbohydrates increase insulin. Insulin then will feed or increase sebum on the skin, right? It will increase oil production and sebum from the skin, and the bacteria in the skin will eat the sebum and create cysts and acne. Number two, insulin in women will increase testosterone. Testosterone will make more androgens. Androgens will clog up the skin too and create acne. So you're going to get it from both of those. Inflammatory foods could do it. Of course, dairy, because of the hormones that are in there, could increase that oil production. So, of course, getting organic meats, getting all the hormones down is really important. Getting the carbohydrates down and cutting out the common food allergens like grains and dairy. And you can even do nuts and seeds as well. That's a good first start. What's the cause of otitis externa? That's swimmer's ear, right? Because otitis interna is the middle ear. Otitis externa, that's swimmer's ear. So probably swam somewhere and got some bacteria in your ear and it's causing an infection. So what I would do to treat that is, if it's outer ear, I would do something like a hydrogen peroxide or a hydrogen peroxide diluted in water, put that in, you'll hear it bubble. When it stops bubbling, usually in 3 minutes later, you know you're good. But that's how I would treat that. You are welcome. Do you use NADH? Yeah, that's the nicotinamide mononucleotide hydrogen. Yeah, it's basically a reduction compound, right? It's a reducing agent. No, I don't use it a ton. I know Niagen makes a good one. I've heard some good anti-aging benefits. It's on my list to try. I hear it's more effective in an IV, but I heard it really burns when you get it in an IV. But yeah, I think if you're really healthy, I think it's something to throw in there. I think it's worthwhile. Fasting for females, what's the best indicator of it being okay? Make sure your hormones are good. Thyroid's good. Body temperature's good. Your adrenals are good, blood sugar's good, your cycle hormonally is good, and make sure none of those things get jacked up when you start doing a little bit of it. And make sure if you're going to do it and you're doing a fast like I'm doing, that's fine. I recommend easing into an intermittent fast before you do a full-on fast like I'm doing, where you're still getting enough calories, you're just compressing the feeding window. Do that instead. That's better. Okay, very good. Let's see here. Do you like thank yous from us, or do you prefer just questions? I always appreciate the thank yous. I really do. Promise the flattery will not go to my head. I promise. How to increase white blood cells, which is 2.47. Got to get to the root cause. So white blood cells could be low from chronic infections, poor diet, autoimmune stuff. It could be something else. So it's a marker. I'd kind of put it off to the side and make a note. Work on all the foundational things, go through the 6 R's, and then go check on it and see where you're at there. You got it. Excellent. And thank you for the acne advice. Yeah, you are welcome. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you apply that and you are successful. Also with acne, I always tell patients the skin's the mirror of the gut. So if you have acne issues, skin issues, of course, all the things I mentioned, but they all affect the gut. So if you're having chronic issues there, look at your gut. There could be candida, there could be bacterial overgrowth, infections. Got to look deeper there so you can see what else is going on. What does it mean when new moles appear? And just keep an eye on insulin. Insulin will cause skin tags and things to grow. Make sure you're not jacking up your hormones from conventional meat products, all those things as well. Would you accept a patient with lung cancer? That depends. I mean, it's a nasty cancer. I'd want them to be medically managed by someone first so they at least are on top of it, because it's a very aggressive cancer. There's natural ways, there's conventional ways. There's some more conventional ways over time that have been better. They're just, more, let's just say, more selective. So you just got to really make sure you're working with someone that specializes in that. And then would I work with someone who's already being treated? Probably I do that. All right, guys, excellent. I got a roll here. You guys have a phenomenal day. Reach below if you want to reach out. All right, I'm here for y'all. Take care. Bye now.